Good afternoon, everyone. This will be the first meeting of our new biennial of the House Judiciary Committee. We've got several new members, and in a moment I'll go through doing some introductions. But first of all, I want to recognize our representative to the meeting today from our judiciary, the Honorable Tom Campbell, Judge Superior Court, Fulton County, Atlanta Judicial Circuit. And Tom served on this committee for many years, was a mentor of mine, and glad to see you here today, Judge. We also have our bar president, who's over here on my left, far left, Robin Clark, and she has a number of lawyers here. If you have any need to introduce them, you can. I think you got a lawyer of the day, don't we?
I'm going to stay for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pass it on. All right.
Glad to see everyone here.
So we're pleased to have members of the bar join us today. We've got several people on our staff I wanted to also give you some insight about. Where is it on the bottom here? Excuse me. I'm sorry. On the same sheet. Let's get down a little further. First of all, let me introduce Susan Butler, our administrative assistant to our office. Susan's now in her second year with us, and we're very pleased to have Susan again with my staff this year. We also have Brandy Bazemore, who you will recall, who is working with us as legislative counsel, the office of the judiciary. Jill Travis, who is with our legislative counsel office, and Jill, you've been many years with us, and we're always very pleased. She is the one that keeps us on the right track with what we're doing legislative-wise. Nick Portentis. Nick, where are you back here? Nick is an attorney working with me during the session. If you remember, over the years, I've had a young lawyer come work with us as a individual to help the council, help the committee, as well as myself personally on legislation, and so Nick is that person for us this year. Drew Brooks. And Drew is back over here. Drew is our intern assigned to the judiciary this year. And Drew is a graduate, I believe, of the Georgia UGA.
He's got 1 hour left.
1 hour left, excuse me, not quite a graduate. So, and after that, Drew plans to attend law school. So good luck for you in the future, Drew. Then we have also Dominic Caparo. Hey, Dominic. Dominic is what we call an extern with us, assigned from the Speaker's office. And Dominic, you are in college at Georgia Tech, am I right? At Georgia State, my mistake, pardon me. And we're pleased to have you with us. Before we get to the rules, one of the things we do as a tradition on the committee is have all the members introduce themselves at the beginning of a new session. Even the older ones, would like to have the members give a little information about their background. I think we'll start on your left and my right. We'll begin over here on the far side, and what we're looking to have you do is identify yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do as far as a profession, and if you're in practice, what type of practice you have. We'll lead out with you. Let me get the mic on. You're on number 17. 16.
Test 1 2.
There you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Dale Rutledge, and I represent District 109, which is Henry County and Rockdale and Newton County. And I'm not sure why I'm on this committee, but I'm glad to be here. I'm a non-lawyer. I'm a small business owner. I actually grew up on a family farm in McDonough back when we had more cows than people in Henry County. And I own a freight company that specializes in exhibit and transportation logistics on a global basis. And I recently sold a business, a trash company, picking up residential and commercial trash. I started that after 9/11 back in 2002. And we were fortunate enough to start out with 150 of my neighbors as customers. And we grew that company over 9 years to over 8,000 homes, a city contract, about 5 trucks and 10 employees. And we were able to sell that company in 2011, and that's what opened the door for me to run for this this seat, and I'm glad to be here, and looking forward to working with everyone on this committee to. I'm going to be the watchdog to make sure these laws that we're passing here are not affecting the businesses in a bad way. So I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you, Mr. Rutledge, and I think you were put on this committee for your wisdom and your humility to help keep us more humble. And and we had a member named Randy Nix who served on this committee. Started out the same way. Said, "I don't know why I'm on this committee." And 4 years later, he was finally able to get off of it. So maybe things may work out for you over time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
And next on Mike 15.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Trey Kelly. I represent District 16, which is over in northwest Georgia. I have all of Polk County, a portion of Bartow County, and a portion of Haralson County. I'm on here. I'm not an attorney either, but I'm trying to get there. I'm in my second year of law school at Georgia State. My full-time profession is I'm a manufacturer's representative for industrial power transmission products, but do look forward to graduating from law school and practicing. I also do legal work right now for a civil litigation firm in Cedartown. So I'm excited to be here and look forward to working with each of you.
And pleased to have you too, Mr. Kelly. And next we've got another fine lawyer. You want to tell us something about your background?
I think that most of the people in here probably know me. I'm Johnny Caldwell, Jr. I'm back in the practice of law now. I was in private practice. I was DA of the Griffin Circuit for nearly 15 years, and I was Superior Court Judge of the Griffin Circuit for nearly 15 years. Back into practice, and for some reason decided to run for this, and here I am, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we're very pleased to have
I
you,
have
Mr. Caldwell.
Pike, and half of Lamar.
And you got a lot of great experience to be a plus with the committee. Pleased to have you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mary Margaret Oliver. I've served on this committee a long time, and I've been serving in the Senate also. I practiced law in Decatur for the last 25 years. And my first jury trial when I was 26 years old was against Johnny Caldwell, and I lost badly. Bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
Okay. Memories percolate up, don't they? Yes, sir, Mr. Welch.
Andy Welch, District 110, Henry, Butts, and Newton County. And just glad to be back. I'm a lawyer practicing law down in Henry County.
What type of law you practice?
Oh, anything.
Everything. General practice, then. Yes, sir.
I'm Jay Powell. I've been on this committee for the last 4 years and now in my 5th year. And in District 171, which is all of Mitchell County and half of Colquitt County and half of Decatur County in southwest Georgia, and I've got a general practice.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. And next we have, yes, sir, Ms. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Jacobs. I represent House District 80, which is substantially Georgia's newest city, Brookhaven, and a portion of the city of Sandy Springs. My practice, I guess I'm in my 9th year in the General Assembly and 7th year on this committee. And my practice is substantially bankruptcy and debtor-creditor litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. I'm going to swing over to my far left, and you're right. You're on mic 4, I believe.
I'm Roger.
Yeah. 3. There you go.
Okay, I'm Roger Bruce. I represent District 61, which is South Fulton County, Douglas County, and Cobb County. All of those counties have everything in common with each other. And I've been on this committee for 10 years.
Wonderful years, you should
and I won an honorary law degree. I've been at this longer than most lawyers have been alive. But anyway, I enjoy this committee a lot. I run a pretrial intervention company when I'm not here, and sometimes while I am here. But this is a great committee. The things that get done here are very important to everybody being able to do the things that they do in their lives. So, and can I do one last thing?
Sure.
With Jill, I want to point out, I want to thank her. She's been very helpful throughout the whole time that I've been here, and I wanted to say that publicly. Thank you very much.
Very well stated and quite true. She's a real gem for this committee to have. I agree with you. Next, we have a familiar face coming back to see us.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Barry Fleming, and I malpractice in the Augusta area. And I first started my service on this committee in 1986. I was an intern for the House Judiciary Committee while I was at the University of Georgia. I sat right where Drew sat right there. And so I'm happy to be back. My practice is, as I mentioned, in Columbia County, actually, the suburbs of Augusta. My district is Columbia County and McDuffie County, District 121. I have a general practice with 3 other lawyers in Evans, Georgia.
Great to have you back, too, Ms. Fleming. And next.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ronnie Mabra. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And good old country boy from Fayetteville, Georgia. I represent District 63, and that includes parts of South Fulton, North and East Fayette, and the Panhandle of Clayton County. So I got a lot of work, 3 counties in the metro area and up to the task. Went to undergrad at Georgia Tech, played football there, and attended law school at the University of Georgia. Came out and started practicing law in Jonesboro over in Clayton County for a small practice representing injured victims here in Georgia, and grew. And after about 3.5, 4 years, I stepped out on faith and started my own firm, the Mabra firm, and started in my living room in Fayetteville, and it grew. I worked hard, trying a few cases here and there, on the south side, all around, and ultimately started hiring staff and attorneys, and now we're in Midtown on 14th Street, and look forward to serving on this committee, bringing some insight and learning a lot, and look forward to working with Chairman Wendell Willard. Heard a lot of great things about him. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well stated. And we've got another new member that just arrived, and we are going through an introduction, so I'll let you come in.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is LaDawn Blackett-Jones. I'm from District 62, which includes parts of the airport, South Fulton County, and Douglas County. I'm guessing that we're telling a little bit about our background.
Yes, ma'am.
I am an attorney by trade. I went to law school at Tulane Law and came out as a prosecutor for Fulton County. I was there for 7 years, where I was the chief senior DA over the community prosecution unit. I then left there to open the LBJ Law Group, which is right on Auburn Avenue now, where I practice both criminal and business law, and I am just very happy to be here. The main reason why I ran for office is because I saw laws that just weren't quite working out in the courtrooms the way that I'm sure they were well-intentioned, and so I want to be here to try to help with that. Thank you.
Well, glad to have you with us. And I think I'm the last one. I'm Wendell Willard. I'm attorney. I'm a country lawyer from Sandy Springs, Georgia. I've been practicing for too many years, maybe some say, but I've been chairing the committee since 2005, in the legislature since 2001. I'm enjoying the opportunity to be of service to my legislature and my state, and we do a lot of good, hard work in this committee. We have bills that are sent to us, I jokingly say, for 2 reasons: either to make them better or to kill them. So we try to do the appropriate thing when the bill comes in. We've got a good group of members on this committee. Everybody enjoys the opportunity, I think, to be exposed to the type of work that we do. We ask for everybody to be involved. Inside your folders, members, you'll see on the back right-hand page a sheet that has the assignments to the subcommittees. I think an email was sent out earlier to you that showed the assignments for the various subcommittees. And Ms. Jones, I apologize. As you are introducing yourself, I'm looking down the sheet, and we don't have you on one. It was not an intentional oversight, I assure you, and it'll be corrected, and I'll let you decide which one of the subcommittees you wish to serve on, even, since you had the opportunity to make the choice. We don't have them divided up as we did in some of the other subcommittees by having particular type bills. I usually just try to keep a balance of bills between the 2 groups. We're all, for the most part, lawyers, except for the 2 members that we had introduced as our lay persons, but The idea is to take the bills through subcommittee where necessary, to have good hearings, have as much input as possible to get the public's perception of it, and make changes where necessary, amend the bills, and before they get up to full committee, where we will again have another hearing on the bill, and as a part of that, be prepared to act on the bill with a recommendation going to the House itself. We've got one more member just joined us. We were going through introductions. Mr. Lindsay, you might want to just take your mic and bring it around and tell us some more things about your practice and who you are.
First of all, Mr. Chairman, I do apologize. Education Appropriations is trying to vote out their budget for the supplemental year. My name is Edward Lindsay. I represent House District 54, which involves the North Atlanta Buckhead neighborhoods.
And what type of practice do you have?
I do civil litigation, primarily insurance defense litigation.
All right. We have two subcommittee chairs. One of them is also chair of this particular committee, and that's Mr. Jacobs to my right. And then to his right is Jay Powell, who will chair the other subcommittee in the committee for this committee. So we have both those gentlemen who will set their own agendas for hearing on bills. Those hearings may occur here or wherever they find space available. We have some rules we need to adopt today as part of our initial work on the committee. On the left side of your folder are the stated rules. There's been nothing changed or recommended to be changed of the rules from what they were adopted by the previous committee 2 years ago. So I ask you to take a moment, look at the rules. If there are any questions regarding the rules, we'll be glad to entertain the question. If there's no further discussion on the rules, the chair will entertain a motion on the rules. We've got a motion to adopt. Is there a second to the motion? Motion's been seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? There being none, the chair will call the question. All in favor of the adoption of the rules for the Judiciary Committee for the term 2013-2014 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The rules are adopted. We have some assignment of bills. I'll just quickly go through what we've so far had come in and request for bills. We've had House Bill 1, which is the Georgia Uniform Civil Forfeiture Procedure Act. That is being assigned to Mike Jacobs' subcommittee. I am the primary sponsor on the bill, and we'll have subcommittee hearings on that bill. To Jay Powell's committee, we have House Bill 78, which is the Crimes and Offenses dealing with the protection of disabled adults and elderly persons. This bill is also sponsored by me, and we will have subcommittee hearings on that bill at the pleasure of the committee chair. And then we have House Bill 94, which is dealing with the reduction of earnings to present value on damages. This is a bill sponsored primarily by Mr. Welch, and that will also be in Jay Powell's subcommittee. We're going to have full committee hearings on two bills. One we have, which is House Bill 3 today. That bill is in your folder. And we have, that's the revised bill. That's the revised bill. Okay, we don't have today yet. I'm sorry. We will have another full committee, the House Bill 79, which is the revision bill. If you recall, those who have been on the committee in the past, every year there is a bill that comes through that is called the revision bill. That bill is taking what may have been brought to the attention of Legislative Council of errors of punctuation, spelling, modernization of words, etc., correcting errors of the laws that were passed, and that bill will come forward later. We do have before us today House Bill 3, to which I am the primary author, and I will ask our Vice Chair, Mr. Jacobs, to assume chair of the committee, and I will make a presentation on that bill.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have House Bill 3 before the committee. I'll call on Chairman Willard to present the bill.
And if I may just keep my seat, Mr. Chairman, I think it'll be a short presentation. Those on the committee who served the last 2 years, in fact, for the last 4 years, recall we had a bill come through, which was House Bill 24, the rewrite of the entire evidence code of Georgia. And this bill has had a, I think, major impact on the bar and the bench with the use of rules of evidence. It was a bill, I think, consisted of over 100 pages, really about 160 pages, wasn't in total, with what you had as far as the new rules and the striking out of old rules. Well, of course, as you go through something that size, surprisingly, there's found to be maybe a change or two that needs to be made where we may have had an oversight, use of an incorrect word, and we've had at least 2 of those. And then we had also a Section 3 which deals with a change in the terminology for a particular department that handles a specific type of service and work that we'll get to on Section 3. I'd like to go through, Mr. Chairman. I'll just explain each of the changes to the proposed evidence code and why it's being asked for. And what you have under Section 1 is really not a part of the evidence code, but as a rewrite of a number of provisions we had under the law. We had in several sections language that dealt with what we'll call the introduction of documents of evidence. And these various departments had language that specified who would make the introduction, whether or not it'd have to have a seal of the department, et cetera, as a way of authenticating the documents. We have within the evidence code language that addresses the introduction of not only governmental documents but regular documents. And so we have addressed really a uniform means of doing it, so there's no further need within individual statutes addressing departments of government, whether it be local governments or state governments, what and how particular documents are to be authenticated. We overlooked one, and that is, as you see here under the State Board of Registration for Foresters, it speaks of their records, and what we're doing is just saying the board shall keep a record of its proceedings, period, and then have struck through what is the language that addressed how those documents are authenticated for introduction as a document to the courts or otherwise. That is explanation for Section 1. And Mr. Chairman, if there are any questions on that particular section, I'll be glad to take them at this time. If there are none, then we'll move on to Section 2. Section 2 itself does come out of the code, out of the evidence code, is under Section 24-6-612. This is addressing the refreshing of recollection of a witness, and we had a incorrect term used on line 30, as you will see. This is where the only change is being made. And if I can, I'll read the sentence of which this term is used. It says, if the writing used is protected by the attorney-client privilege or as attorney work product under Section 9-1126, use of the writing to refresh recollection prior to, and we had the term the trial, and it should be actually prior to testifying, because it may not only be at trial, it may be at other times where there could be a hearing or otherwise. So there was an incorrect term used as far as when the use of this material is used by a witness in refreshing their recollection. And it was meant to be stated as testifying as opposed to the time of trial. And so we're asking for a correction of that word. If there's any questions, Mr. Chairman, on that section, we'll take it at this time. And if there are none, we'll proceed to Section 3. Section 3 addresses, in our code on evidence, we have a provision addressing the confidentiality of age records, and that previously was maintained by the Department of Community Health. It is actually now maintained by the Department of Public Health. So what we're asking for here is to change where is recognized those records are being maintained to the correct department, which is Department of Public Health. And we have that struck and changed in several locations throughout Section 3, which is under Code Section 24-12-21. And that, Mr. Chairman, is the explanation for House Bill 3.
Questions for the author? Majority Whip, Representative Lindsay.
Just one quick question. Perhaps it might be better to give to Jill in addition to you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding Section 3, from time to time we change names of departments. Is there any way that we can come up with some language, Department of Public Health or such other department, subject to title, whatever else, so that we don't have to go through this every time we change the name of a department? I don't know if there is or not. If there isn't, withdraw my question.
The thing that happened with this is actually there was the signing order of the bill with House Bill 24 and House Bill 214.
Okay.
And when the huge department change was done,
yes,
everything was done right. But of course, when we were doing House Bill 24, we didn't know House Bill 214 was traveling. And so usually we kind of look out for that
okay.
stuff. But it would have had to been double drafted.
That's fine.
So when the whole department changes, it does actually work out. I can't think of a way to...
That's fine. I'll just... no problem.
Representative Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On line 45, the word community appears there. Is there a reason why that should be there? Okay.
I've reviewed this with Betsy Hallison, and she's in charge of the revised code and House Bill 214 she did. And I thought the same thing.
Okay.
But I'm under the understanding the community is correct at that location.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Jones.
Thank you. Under Section 2, is this section intended to only include testimony and refreshing recollection at trial, or at all testimony, hearings, anything of the sort?
I think it's actually intended for all preparation to have the attorney-client relationship, so the attorney dealing with the client can maintain the confidentiality of what is stated between the client and the attorney for preparation of testifying, not just trial.
I'm wondering if striking just the trial to change to fix that error may give some the impression that this was intended only to account for writings that they're talking about at trials. Any other hearings, this wouldn't apply. No, this.
Well, we'll say by testifying, of course, you could be testifying by deposition, you could be testifying at a bond hearing, you could be testifying in a number of ways. That's why it was acknowledged it should not state at the trial, because there'll be other times where that opportunity arises for the relationship to enter between the attorney and client in preparation for testifying.
So I'm wondering if we should take out at trial on line 24 as well.
24. Might not be a bad idea. Before testifying, and the court, in its discretion, it is necessary in its justice and trustee. What do you think, Ms. Travis?
Professor Millich is the one we've used so much on
Yeah.
this, and he said the only change that was necessary was that one on line 30.
I think what you have there, the line 30 again goes back to just the attorney-client relationship. The rest of it deals with other times where there may be a refreshing of memory by use of documents or information other than within the attorney-client privilege. Pardon me? What you have when you have someone who's testifying, of course, at trial, who's given a document that may be used by that witness in refreshing their recollection, it really becomes open to use by all parties. As opposed to what you have with someone's refreshing their recollection for use in testifying from a document that is provided to them from their attorney in preparation of testifying. So that's why I think there's a difference with the provision B is any time other than the attorney-client relationship being used. Don't you agree, Judge?
Actually, no.
No.
I think that if this was brought in, somebody challenged this in court, the judge, in reading the statute, is going to say possibly on line 24, testifying at trial, then they will get over where it just says testifying, and they will read it, in my opinion, from 15 years on the bench, that they're reading the same. In particular, because it said at trial the first time, they would say that means at trial the second time, in my opinion.
Perhaps what we might want to do is, as we heard earlier, Professor Paul Millett is the one that has helped guide this committee in preparation of the bill. I would suggest we hold up acting on this bill until we've conferred with him about that language and have him give us something as a written explanation if he says that is a proper change or not. So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we defer action on House Bill 3 until at least the next meeting of the committee.
Rather than taking a motion, the chair will just hold the bill and we'll defer action on it until it's put on a future agenda of the full Judiciary Committee. Is there anyone who wanted to speak on, there's no one signed up, anyone who wanted to speak to the bill as long as we're here? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close off discussion and the bill will appear on a future Judiciary Committee agenda. I turn the chair back over to Chairman Willard.
Can I just add, Mr. Chairman, that Representative Caldwell has overruled many of my objections.
I've done that before, probably.
All right. Do we have anything else to be brought before the committee today? If there is no further business, we will stand adjourned and we will perhaps plan for meeting Thursday afternoon to further discuss at least this item and perhaps the correction bill we talked about. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.